Hello Game fans, Steam sales are a great way of getting fantastic games on the cheap, and I have a number of weird and interesting games here, with prices decreasing as the list goes along, beginning with Nuclear Blaze, a roguelike platformer in which you play as a firefighter, where the enemy is not monsters or demons, but rather backdrafts, exploding walls and more. During Devolver's summer presentation, people lost their when Tenjutsu was announced, citing it was from the developer of Dead Cells, and while technically correct, it's a little bit of a misnomer since the creator of Dead Cells has left Motion Twin and went indie, with this game being their first commercial release, so where were these people back in 2021? So if you're curious, give this a go. A no-brainer pick if you love cozy games is TOEM, a photo adventure, a game with a monochrome color palette which is not easy to pull off since I know some people get instantly turned off a game that looks like this, but if you stick it through, you'll find a charming and very cute game. You are exploring the world and taking photos to help the characters with their problems, solving it in adventure game fashion so that you can get to the next area, where they did release free updates titled Fisherman's Tune and Basto Region, which added even more stuff and is a steal at 80% off. Developer Freebird Games has been absolutely crushing it since 2012, which is not an easy thing to do since they are best known for To the Moon, but what often goes unmentioned is that the games since then in A Bird's Story, Finding Paradise and Impostor Factory are all massive hits as well and have touched many lives through their storytelling. This is despite the games being made in RPG Maker and not even having traditional video game stuff like combat. Rather, it centers around two doctors that have a special device that allows people another chance to live their lives all the way from the beginning, which of course occurs in their minds and is usually used on the dying, so instant emotional pull. But the story setup of this game is a murder mystery starring another character, so you have to play to find out more, but if you love adventure games, this is a no-brainer. I had no idea what The Long Drive even was prior to finding it for this video, and somehow this survival driving game from 2019, which is still in early access, has a whopping 30,000 Steam reviews and a rating of very positive. If you're familiar with this game and its community, please let me know why in the comments below, since it really is a surprise to me and just goes to show how wide the world of indie games really is. From what I gather, it takes place in the post-apocalypse with the gimmick of an infinite procedurally generated desert in which you can drive 500 km on a full tank, which is similar to real life. The developer even pulls the line, if you see a mountain, you can go there, so it's some form of exploration game but has first-person simulation elements as well. People have said that it feels like a prototype, so do know that going in, but at 75% off, why not give this a try? Back to something a little bit more mainstream in Tales of the Neon Sea, a pixel art adventure game in which you play as a cop turned detective investigating the latest crime to come across his desk. It has a cyberpunk setting, so that means humans and robots mixing together, as well as plot points like brain implants and more. The central mystery appears to involve a serial killer from 13 years ago, and thus our story begins, having some of the most impressive pixel art that I have come across. A neat sci-fi colony sim survival crafting title is Cryofall, which kind of feels like RimWorld but less minimalist in presentation. you are gathering resources and fighting creatures in order to get what you need to craft upgrades, build your base, farm, and are even able to venture further out to explore. Curiously, there is a PvP aspect in which you can raid enemy bases, although I don't think the player population is doing that hot right now, but at 85% discount might be worth a shot just for the single player content. If you love narrative games, developer Deconstruct Team is one of the best at it, with the pixel art cyberpunk title The Red Strings Club from 2018 being of note. You are using pottery, bartending, and impersonating people on the phone to take down a corporate conspiracy, so how's that for intriguing, with their latest title, The Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood from 2023 being on 40% discount as well. In my mind, I thought that Jalopy would have been more popular in terms of sheer sales figures as compared to the Long Drive mentioned earlier, but apparently not, although 7,400 Steam reviews is still a very impressive number. This is also a road trip car game, but in which you are exploring the former Eastern Bloc, namely Germany, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Bulgaria, and the Czech and Slovak Federative Republic. This is a car maintenance game for lack of a better description, since you need to maintain an old, busted up vehicle, scavenging for scrap to sell to afford upgrades and repairs, with there being a procedurally generated world to explore, and is weird and unique, with the developer working on his next game which kind of looks like the same thing but Japan. A hidden gem from 2018 that I adore is Old School Musical, and have a little bit of history with this game since I remember covering it back on this channel, where the developer and publisher took the chance on a tiny channel back then. This is a rhythm game with the notes moving to the center of the screen, so all the fancy animation and stuff going on the background is actually secondary. However, there is a ton of variety and references to other games, and more importantly, has one of the best soundtracks, so if you love rhythm games, 80% off is a pretty sweet deal. I told you that I have some hidden gems in this video, and such is the case with Purea, a WarioWare style minigame collection in which the game changes every 10 seconds, and you have to try to adapt. You are collecting marbles, which are then used to unlock more minigames, music and skins, and also requires just 2 buttons to control, and is another must get at this price. Watch this video for the best indie games of the year.